Donald Trump started one of the dumbest trade wars of all time over this past weekend, but now we are learning he is stepping back from his tariffs after being absolutely played by some of our closest allies. I guess this is what we have come to expect from Donald Trump, right? He pretends like he's some big bad deal maker who's going to implement these crazy tariffs, but then at the very last second he blinks and then pretends like he got some major concessions that he can hold up to his MAGA base. We have seen him play this card over and over and over again. As long as they can find something bright and shiny and Donald Trump can pretend like he got some sort of win, well then I guess you got a deal, guys. Donald Trump is an incompetent child. And because MAGA has never met a Donald Trump play that they didn't love, of course they are out there trying to sell the world that Donald Trump is some sort of master negotiator and that in fact he is the one who got the upper hand on Canada and Mexico. Here Scott Jennings is saying that Daddy Trump, well, he got them to cave.
There are no tariffs. There's a pause on this because, as has been reported by CNN and every other news outlet, both Mexico and Canada have reached agreements today with Donald Trump to do what we want them to do, which is to put people and technology and resources at the border to stop the flow of people and drugs, illegal immigration, stem the tide. That is the whole point of this exercise. And that is apparently what is happening. And yes, there have been some troops there in Mexico. This is an agreement to do permanent deployment. And yes, some of this stuff in Canada was already announced, but now they were dragging their feet. Now their feet are held to the fire. They've got 30 days to really implement, and they can't pussyfoot around anymore. So the point of this exercise today, to me, had less to do with trade and more to do with saying to our neighbors, you need to be better neighbors. We are more important to your economy than you are to ours, so you need to help us with our serious problem, which is illegal immigration and people dying from fentanyl. And they both said yes today, and that is a win for Donald Trump.
Is it, Scott? Is it really a win for Donald Trump when all of these programs were already in place before Donald Trump threatened these tariffs? You can't just say that Donald Trump is responsible for these deals if they already existed. Canada mentioned their investment in the border, I think back in December, and it was the Biden administration who worked with Mexico to get troops at our southern border. Donald Trump did not do a damn thing. And to the contrary, Mexico got him to concede that he would help them stop the flow of guns into their country. So if anything, Donald Trump is the loser here. But because he can pretend like these are the things that he put in place for this deal, then MAGA just goes along with it. I mean, it is absolutely pathetic. And I am so sick and tired of MAGA trying to pretend like it is Canada and Mexico who are not being good neighbors. It is we who are not being good neighbors. We have a petulant child as a sitting president, and he is throwing his tantrum and just causing pain to our allies for no good reason. And Catherine Rampell really calls out Scott Jennings for what this situation actually is. Donald Trump just got rolled, bro.
This is hilarious to me because Trump got rolled by both of these countries, and no one, least of all Trump, seems to have realized it. Both the leaders of Mexico and Canada have agreed to do what they have already been doing. It's just that Trump didn't seem to know about it. Like, for example, the president of Mexico said that she would commit to having 10,000 troops at the U.S.-Mexico border. Guess what? There are already 15,000 people there, troops, military troops from Mexico there, and have been there for years. Trump didn't seem to notice this. Same deal with Canada. Prime Minister Trudeau said, aha, we're going to spend $1.3 billion on investing in border security. Guess what? They announced that $1.3 billion last year. Oh, but they're also going to have a fentanyl czar, and they're going to have 24/7 eyes on the border. You know, this is about saving face, I guess. I don't know if nobody informed Trump that there are no actual concessions here, but that will, of course, not stop him from claiming victory.
And she is exactly right. All this deal shows is that Donald Trump is incompetent. He didn't know that these programs were already in place. He didn't know that troops were already being sent to the border. He didn't know that Canada was already working on the northern border. He's just incompetent. And so because he didn't know about them, and now he does, he can use those as a way to try to sell this narrative that he's some sort of master negotiator. It is just not the case. And for people like Scott Jennings to go around and try to sell this narrative is just disingenuous. And even when he is questioned about what Donald Trump actually got from this deal, he really has a hard time articulating it.
To change
No,
the subject
I'm not.
to Colombia.
I'm wrapping it all together. It's all part of the same thing.
Let's go back to what Trump got for threatening a 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. What did he get?
On Mexico, he got a permanent set of troops, not temporary, just during surges. He got permanent troops. And on Canada, let me tell you what he got. Let me tell you what he got.
You cannot just, hold up, you can't just like insert your own qualifications into this. Where does it say that it's permanent?
The White House told me tonight that the commitment they have from Mexico is that they will put permanent troops.
Do you know how many troops Mexico had on the border last year?
It goes up and down.
15,000.
It goes up and down. It's temporary. So now they're getting a permanent
let me ask you,
force.
is 10,000 more or less
is permanent better than temporary?
15,000?
You know what's more?
Catherine Rampell is so good at this. I love that she is willing to troll Scott Jennings because he is such an indignant punk. And you just cannot say that Trump got the better end of the deal when Biden negotiated 15,000 troops, but you only negotiated 10,000 troops? Rampell is rightly calling this out as, of course, this is not some grand deal that Donald Trump made. These commitments were already in place. And for Scott to say, oh, well, I talked to the White House and they told me that this was in fact permanent, is not inspiring any confidence. It just sounds like you're lying out of your ass. Why didn't the Trump administration come out and say, well, this is a permanent stationing of troops on our southern border? Scott Jennings is just full of crap. And I really like the way Catherine Rampell puts it, is Donald Trump, he's just branding the status quo as a victory, just like he always does, because he is such an incompetent child.
It's the uncertainty and the chaos.
First of all,
it's
Trump is trying to repackage the status quo as a victory. That's what the leaders of these foreign countries are learning. You don't actually have to give Trump anything.
You just have to make it seem like
you have to let him
something.
announce victory on TV. Second of all, it's not actually back to the status quo. It is worse than the status quo. As Richard points out, we have tarnished our relationships with our allies whose help we need to rein in China, which I know you care about. Beyond that, think about the additional uncertainty that's being added to the business environment right now. If you are a company and you don't know if tariffs are coming or they're not coming, you don't know if your input costs are going to go up or they're not going to go up,
That's true.
Why would you invest? Why would you invest in oil pipelines, for example, to Canada? I know you really care about the Keystone Pipeline, for example.
I mean, the one that Biden killed.
Yeah,
You know that would be the oil coming from Canada, which Trump is now threatening to tariff.
God, she is just so good at this, and she is so right. Donald Trump is all about optics. He's all about trying to sell a narrative to his MAGA base, to the American people, even if the facts just do not line up with the narrative that he's selling. He just does not care. He is only about optics. He is a showman. That's all he cares about. So if he can point to something and say, ooh, look what I got from my deal, then that's good enough for him. And Catherine Rampell is exactly right that this makes things worse for not only Donald Trump, but for America. We are no longer a reliable trading partner. How is Canada or Mexico supposed to count on us to follow through with our word when you have Donald Trump acting like an idiot? So he is doing so much damage to the American people that we can't even see yet, because now we are not a reliable friend or ally who can be counted on in the future, because, ooh, Donald Trump might just threaten to put tariffs and try to weaken your economy for no good reason. It is an absolute shame that we have a sitting president who is just destroying relationships all over the world because he wants to act like some big, bad, tough guy. It is absolutely pathetic. And the CNN anchor, I forget his name here, but he calls it out perfectly. Like, these companies are going to start not taking this stuff seriously. And that is a real risk here, and that is a bad thing for Donald Trump. If you have a president who is threatening to do something, and then he just blinks at the last minute, you destroy all of your credibility. It is gone.
At some point, the market's going to stop taking this serious, I presume. I think part of the freak out this morning was everybody didn't really take it totally seriously, given the scale of things. Is there ever going to come a point where he's going to actually do what he says on tariffs?
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's dependent upon them. I mean, look, the reality is they have to do more, and we are more important to them than they are to us. We are a bigger economy. We are just a bigger player, and we have lots of equities at stake here beyond the economy, beyond trade. We have people all over this country dying, including in my home state of Kentucky, from fentanyl overdoses. It is a scourge. It is a disaster, and it needs to be dealt with. The illegal immigration crisis is what propelled Trump back to the White House in the first place.
Still the funding. Whoa.
Just real quick, Catherine.
If you're suggesting this is about reducing fentanyl deaths, which I agree is 100% a very important, critical national issue, why did Trump kill the funding last year that would have put in place better technology at our border to detect fentanyl?
Donald Trump wasn't the president last year. He's the president now.
We got a lot.
All of the Republicans to kill it.
We got a lot more to get to.
Damn, she is so good at this, and she is always prepared with the facts that it's just no match for Scott Jennings. We know that Donald Trump did kill that bipartisan border deal that would have helped with more drug detection. It would have helped with more asylum. It would have helped the border security on the whole. And we know that Donald Trump called the Republicans and said, kill this deal because I want this issue to run on in the 2024 election. And that is exactly what happened. So you cannot just sit there and say that Donald Trump all of a sudden cares about this stuff and is going to do something about it when he has shown a willingness to destroy any progress on this issue in the past. And again, I am so sick of this MAGA worldview that every country is ripping us off. That is just not what is happening here. We are the big dick player on the world stage, but Donald Trump is destroying that now. He is isolating America from the rest of the world. He's pretending like we can do all of these trade things in our own country, make all the parts, make all the pieces. It's just an absolute joke. He is isolating us from the world. He's diminishing our relationships with our friends and our allies. And now he's going to leave a vacuum for our adversaries to fill. He is doing so much damage because he is only about optics. He only wants to pretend like he got a win so he can sell a narrative to the American people that he is some big bad negotiator. It is absolutely pathetic. And like I said, I think it's doing so much damage that we can't even imagine yet. And going forward, it's going to be a problem for America when Donald Trump is dead and gone because we are no longer a reliable partner that people can count on. And that is a huge, huge problem. So I'll wrap it up there. I thought this was a really great, fun piece, I guess you could say. We've been kind of on edge lately with Elon Musk trying to take over the government and all these crazy things that are happening. But this was a little bit of a sigh of relief, a little bit more fun. So anyway, I'll leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We have to build something here that it can adequately push back against the authoritarian power grab that is currently going on in our government. So please do remember to subscribe if you appreciate the work. If you want to see how Donald Trump is finally admitting that some of these tariffs will cause pain for the American people, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.